Okay, so Andrea, thank you very much for joining us today. Andrea is a student who did very, very well on her IELTS test, and she has agreed to give all of you some advice. So, Andrea, can you just tell people a little bit about yourself first?
Hi, this is Andrea. I'm a Romanian nurse. I have struggled with passing my IELTS exam from January this year. I have finally managed to pass. Well, it's not really pass IELTS. Pass with the required grade on August. This August. I have been a registered nurse, thankfully, from September.
Great. So,
Sorry,
no worries.
that's so weird
No
for me.
worries. No. That's absolutely fine. So just tell people a little bit about your IELTS experience. What scores did you get? What did you struggle with? What was easy? Well, just tell them a little bit about your history with it.
I think I'm one of the many other people that have struggled with finding the right resource. The right resource to be able to understand IELTS and understand the weaknesses and the strengths that I had to be able to achieve the right grade. I needed a minimum of 7 on all 4 stages of IELTS. So for me, the most worried part was the writing part, because every time I would attend IELTS, I would receive a 6.5 on writing. I think that's the most common band that people usually get on the writing part. And obviously that grew a massive frustration on me, because I already knew that, I've done my best. I had good ideas. I had a quite a fair amount of English language to use, and I have tried many resources online, and I actually had a tutor from a college from UK that used to grade my IELTS essays with 8.5, which obviously was wrong. And after I've after I've done IELTS for 4 times, I realized obviously that the teacher did not know what was grading me for. She probably graded me for like the grammar, maybe the accuracy, but never on the structure. And the structure was and has been my greatest struggle. And I admit, for obviously nearly 7 months, I have struggled to understand what was that was wrong to my essays, that and what I needed to do in order to get the 7. And I think in April, or maybe end of April, I found out about Academy, IELTS Academy, obviously Chris Pell Academy. I'm so nervous.
Don't worry.
And
It's a really
I'm trying to remember, because it has been like, I consider it not a really bad experience, but a really struggling point in my life, and I'm trying to figure out how I've got to the point of finding the right resource, and how I've obviously overcome my struggles. And I remember I was really frustrated on that, because obviously I knew that my English was at the right level on all other 3 parts of the IELTS, but now on the writing part. So obviously, for me to write, sometimes it's not really my biggest strength or my passion. I'm not a passionate writer. I'm more of a structured person. But what I've realized now, after obviously passing and after reading your informations and all your online resources and teaching that you had, I realized that the struggle for me to be able to pass the writing test was actually the structure. Because in my culture, obviously, when you say essay, you mean writing a piece of work of at least 3 to 4 pages. So to be able to concentrate in the minimum of 250 words and the minimum of 40 minutes per part of the IELTS writing, that was really a confusing part to me. And I would have great ideas, but not put them in the right
Mhm.
structure and order. I'll start with, like you said in your videos, I have found myself in your videos when you were explaining to people, a lot of people have great ideas, but they just struggle to get the order and the paragraphs, and obviously struggle to get the required amount of wording and the essay at the same time, so in the 40 minutes. And I have managed to get that after I've been one of your students on one of your challenges. For me, that was very helpful, but it was helpful because I have experienced 3 times the IELTS, and I had gotten to the point where all the resources I could find online, I would just read them and try to figure out if they're right or wrong, and trying to compare them with other people's resources. And I was at the point where I've already used all the books I could find, in the library or in the shops. I had quite a good English manner. It's just, for me, it was just the structure. So I would advise every student that is, at that point where they don't know what they're doing wrong, is to find just one teacher is enough. You don't need all the resources, because that's how you're going to get confused. That was my main point of confusion. I would find so many great information on the internet, but when you combine them, or like you mix them up, and then you get so confused. And your writing will show that. They will show that you might have great ideas, and you might have the greatest grammar range and accuracy and everything you think about it. But then when someone else is reading it, they will say, right, where's the point of this essay? And they couldn't grade you. So if they can't grade you, the IELTS examiners, they will not give you the right band. They will actually give you, I think, a smaller one, just because, they can see you do understand, but not on their requirements, so to say. So the way you've explained the requirements and what to do to achieve the band, that helped me a lot, because while I would understand English, when I went on the IELTS website and I was reading the requirements, I could understand them, but at the same time, I did not know how to apply them, and knew from all of people on the internet that are, advising people that are trying to get the IELTS exam passed with a certain grade. You were the only one that could actually make me understand what do I need to do in order to identify my strengths and my weaknesses, and most important, to pass with the right grade. I mean, achieve the right grade, because it's a bit, wrong to say that you pass IELTS. You don't pass IELTS, you just achieve a different grade, a band. Yeah.
That's really, really good advice, because I often say that your writing is a reflection of your thinking. So if you're looking at,
Right.
4 or 5 different, even if 4 or 5 different good teachers, and they're all giving you 4 or 5 different ways of doing things, in the exam, your thinking is going to be so confused. So what you're writing
Definitely.
is going to be totally confused. So that's really, really good advice. Whether people follow me or another teacher,
Anybody.
the most important thing is not to, not to find 5 different teachers. Just find one person that you trust, and follow him or her, and that's
Exactly.
really, 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 really good advice. So well done on getting the score that you need. And what
Thank you.
what will IELTS allow you to do in the future now? What's in your future now?
I need my IELTS because I'm a nurse, and I need it for registration. So the NMC, that's the Nursing and Midwifery Council institution, the ones that will allow you to work as a nurse in UK, they asked, as a requirement for the registration, they asked for this IELTS certificate, and I finally managed to get it, and I'm really glad. And I will never forget the struggle that I had for, to get here just for the English part. But I now understand why I needed that particular way of understanding, because through the IELTS, I now understand English at a different level.
Oh,
And
great.
it's very helpful if you're a nurse, obviously. I'm not too sure in other professions, but as a nurse, it's really important, because it actually, in a way, helps you to communicate your message to different levels of understandings. you might think you're understanding English, but at the same time, different people, because as a nurse you will meet people from different backgrounds, will communicate to you in a way that, you know, through IELTS you might be able to understand it, or at least know how to you know, pass your message across in different ways, not just one way.
It's exactly what IELTS want you to prove in the writing test and the speaking test. Can you clearly communicate in English? Because when you go and do a job, you know, as a nurse, you will have to clearly communicate your message to patients and doctors and people like that. So it's great that you know, you can stay here in the UK and work here, but it's also great that you just generally improved your communication skills, which is absolutely brilliant. Definitely. So thank you very much, Andrea, for sharing.
Thank you very much for your support and your help, because I never thought I'll manage to pass by. Honestly.
You're very welcome. Very welcome. And
thank you very much. You are a great teacher.
Great to have you here in the UK, and I know that there's a shortage of nurses at the moment, so you're helping everybody out. So thank you very much, Andrea, again, and best of luck in your future. Bye-bye.
Thank you, and you. Bye.
Bye-bye.